Wow, guys, the Red Dragon and the Gold might be the best episode of television that I've watched this year, without a doubt. This thing was insane. This is on another level. The final sequence of this episode might even be better than some feature films. I mean, the VFX, how the whole thing was structured, just blew me away. To think that this episode is actually a slow burner. It started off as a slow burner. Like the first, let's say 40 minutes was very slow. It focused on politics, what happens in the hallways, conversations, blah, blah, blah. But there's that one conversation here that just set everything into motion. And I feel like that's a very significant point in this episode, where King Aegon just walks out. His counsel is boring him. Finds his mom, has a conversation with his mom, and he's like, "What should I do, mother?" She says one word: nothing. Now that single word sets in motion one of the best battle sequences in the entire series. Now, when I say series, I'm including Game of Thrones. The dragons have been set loose, guys. I'm just gonna come out and say it. The dragons have been unleashed. And the amount of devastation in this episode and the way this whole thing just plays out, guys, is incredible. I mean, after that word, everything just goes into overdrive. Now, I'm going to discuss a few important plot points. Obvious spoilers, guys. Let's talk about the first half of the episode. Now, one thing that stands out is the fact that the Grand Maester made a concoction for Queen Alicent, which is a clear indication that she is with child. Yes, I'm talking Westeros now. She is with child, and obviously we all know who the father is of this child. Sir Criston Cole, the biggest scumbag in Westeros. I have a deep dislike for this guy. I'm just going to say it. I'm just being honest. That is something that stands out. Another thing that stands out is Sir Criston Cole himself. Now, he's been on a war path. He's been taking down castles, chopping off heads. The guy is on a roll. He's even gained himself a nickname, which is the Kingmaker. So things are getting pretty interesting, guys, from that aspect. How the battle sequence at the end is set up. Now, before I get to that, Rhaenyra actually returns as well, and she's the one who sets things in motion. But before I get to that, Daemon has been struggling mentally at Harrenhal. He's been having these dreams and visions, and it's actually the lady in one of the previous episodes, that she knows what's going on, and he actually has a conversation with her, and he has to deal with all these inner demons and things that are bothering him. He needs to get his head back in the game very quickly, because if that doesn't happen, Team Black is in trouble, guys. Definitely. So Daemon needs to get his head in the game very quickly. Now, with that said, Rhaenyra shows up. She finally makes a return from King's Landing, at everybody's amazement. Like, why would you even go there? And like I said in the previous review of episode 3, she just needed closure. She just needed to know it's final. And she even says it in this episode. She's like, the only way I'm going to take this title is just going to grab it with both hands, or I'm going to die doing it. So battle lines have been drawn, and this is where they unleash the dragons. And guys, I was absolutely blown away by the final sequence of this episode. I mean, to go from having such a slow burner to end up at such a massive point of devastation. Now, 3 dragons are involved in this battle. As you guys hear by the title, it's called the Red Dragon and the Gold. I'm gonna try to stay away from it as much as possible, but just give a little hint here and there. Now, things go sideways, guys. Things really go sideways, and this is a perfect example of the devastation that can happen by unleashing dragons. Now, there hasn't been a dragon fight sequence like this in the entire series, including Thrones. The one instance I can think of is when Daenerys, unleashes on the Bay. That is the only thing that stands out. But this is on another level because this is dragon versus dragon, and the stakes are pretty high here, guys. Any mistake here, anybody can get deep fried. And the unfortunate thing is now we are at a point now where swords and shields don't cut it. I mean, once you put a dragon on the battlefield, it changes everything. Like, you can basically see in this episode that everybody else is just helpless. You are just standing there looking up in the sky. You don't know what's going to happen next. And that adds so much weight and depth to the battle sequence, so much significance. I actually think that Cole didn't realize the full devastation of this. He and Aemond have been plotting basically behind the king's back. It's been evident since episode 1, which is actually very significant if you watch episode 1, because there was a scene where both of them, they were sitting late at night, and then Otto Hightower shows up. Now, if they've been plotting this thing from the beginning, I actually wonder if Otto Hightower is in on this thing, because he was dismissed by Aegon, and he took it on the chin. I actually thought that he would have an outburst, and he didn't have an outburst. So I think he is still pulling the strings from behind the scenes. He just strikes me as the type of guys. He just strikes me as the type of guy that would be doing that. I wouldn't put anything past Otto Hightower, because when it came to the succession, he was right there, and he's been right there. So that is very interesting, guys. And the plan that Cole and Aemond sets up just goes sideways. Fire and blood. I think those two words together just has a lot of significance, and it indicates that nobody can win, guys. That's just the truth. Nobody can win if the family feuds. And that's the significance of the Dance of the Dragons. It's a family war that ultimately leads to the demise of dragons. At the end of this, no dragons exist. Only the eggs. Dany's eggs. So there's a lot of devastation coming here, guys. This is just a taster. This is a teaser of what's to come. And wow, what a teaser. The VFX, at no point does the VFX or anything in this episode feel out of place. It looks organic. It puts you right in the middle of this fight sequence, and that's a true testament to the level of quality of television that this is. HBO is on another level, guys. Don't make any mistake. This is not just any other streaming service. These are people that know how to deliver a television show. And this one, I can't believe this is episode 4, guys. That's just crazy. The way this episode ends, it could have been a finale of any TV show, and this is just in episode 4. And I love it when a TV show is not afraid to take risks. To pull this off in episode 4, they could have waited and left this for episode 7 or episode 8, but they didn't hold back, and that's what I love. I've always loved that aspect about Game of Thrones and now House of the Dragon. The fact that they're not afraid to take risks. They're not afraid to take people off the board very early. I'm not telling you guys who got roasted. Krispy Kreme, deep fried, and that's what happens when you put dragons on the board. I can only imagine what the next episode, the aftermath, is going to look like here, because it's a pretty significant episode and it's going to have a lot of ramifications. Now, a very interesting character, guys, I must say. Aemon Targaryen. Aemon Targaryen is a very interesting character for the simple mere fact that his motivation and his drive is literally there for everybody to see. And Aegon might get caught in a crossfire because his brother just made up his mind, and even with Daemon's dream and nightmare that he has, he sees himself with the eye patch. That is an indication of what's to come. The biggest battle ever is still on the way. And if you've read the books, you guys know what I'm talking about. The battle at God's Eye is still coming. I can't wait. If this dragon fight sequence is on this scale and looks like this, I can only imagine what's going to happen when that comes around. So this is incredible, guys. And yes, with him seeing himself with the eye patch is a hint of what's to come. Like, if you look at these two episodes, even the previous one, it's the biggest hint. Like, it's right there in front of you of what's to come. And it's going to be very significant, guys. This episode was incredible. And I mean, Vhagar is back in the mix. And I feel like the way they have done the VFX for Vhagar is just incredible, because even when Vhagar takes off, the flight, everything goes quiet, because I mean, Vhagar is a monstrosity, and they definitely nailed that aspect in the show, which is incredible. And guys, I'm not gonna lie, like, this is television of the highest caliber. If I watch this show and I have to go back and I have to watch something like The Acolyte, they are playing games, dude. There's no comparison whatsoever. This is on another level. And this is alongside X-Men 97 and Shogun as the best television of the year. I even said that this might be the best episode of television I've watched this year. Breathtaking stuff, guys. That sequence at the end, a lot of feature films can't even take note of that. That's how good that was. Edge of your seat stuff. Can't take your eyes off this. And it's incredible to think that we went from such a slow burner episode into having a ending with such significance. There's a lot of people that are never going to be the same after this episode, because on the one hand, they play their hand, can't go back from that. You've already shown that I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to go this far. And obviously, when it comes to fights and battles, it can go both ways, guys. That's the risk you take by placing somebody on a battlefield. It can go both ways. But in the case of the family feuding, which is what House of the Dragons actually is about, the Dance of the Dragons, the civil war between the Targaryen families, nobody's going to win when the family feuds. Jay-Z said it, and it's pretty evident here. If the family is feuding, everybody's going to get hurt. There's no way anybody's coming out of that unscathed, undamaged. Never going to happen, because somebody is going to come out feeling some type of way, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional. And we've reached that point now where there's no turning back. So from here on going forward, I don't know how many seasons they're going to do. I'm thinking quite possibly 4 seasons maybe. There's still a lot to cover from the books. But this is a very significant episode, guys. George R.R. is a genius. Simple fact. He's a genius, He collaborated on Elden Ring. Look at that. And he's written some of the best fantasy books ever in the form of Game of Thrones. And To see this being adapted by people that actually care about the material, it's evident, it wouldn't have come out this way. People didn't care about the material, and that's all you want. You want television of the highest caliber done by people that really care about the material, and they do it the right way. Just do it the right way. This episode, the red dragon and the gold, evidence of that. Guys, please let me know what you thought about this episode. Wow. I need to actually go back and watch this episode again. It's that good. I might just fast forward, the first 40 minutes. Just to get to the end. Wow. Incredible, guys. And the one aspect that I love also when I think about the battle sequence is the fact that it takes place during the day. Yes. It just elevates and everything is crystal clear, broad daylight. Brilliant. And Cole, I want to talk about Cole. Cole now knows the danger of dragons. I think he might have underestimated it because he had the scumbag attitude and he took the fact that dragons are on the board for granted. And after the devastation that happens here, it's going to be all out warfare. Because, if you even look at all the soldiers on the battlefield, they were blown away by this thing. You don't know, should you go left, should you go right? That is what happens when you put something the size of Vega on the battlefield. All out devastation. And what's incredible is we haven't seen dragon on dragon like this. It's worth a watch, guys. If I had to give this a rating, this is a 10 out of 10 easily, without even flinching. I might even give it 11 out of 10. That's how good this episode was. Where we go from here, I'd love to know. I'd love to see what happens next. I actually wish it was already next week so I can just watch the next episode. But the red dragon and the gold will definitely stand as one of the best episodes this year, just for simply delivering something incredible out of the blue, guys. Conversations, politics, bam, right into the middle of the battlefield. Incredible how they set the chess pieces and then just went for checkmate. Must watch television, guys. Not lying. You need to watch this immediately. If you are not watching House of the Dragon, start watching it now. You won't be disappointed. That's it for me, guys. Let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think of House of the Dragon. I just finished that episode, guys, and it was crazy. I need to watch it again. It's worth another watch. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the next video.